All right. Hey, welcome back. If you're not here today or you just need a refresher, what we talked about today, here is solving quadratics by factoring part two. So, hey, they don't have to do another journal entry. We're just going to pick up where we left off. And so let's do some more examples. All right, so I don't know whether I got to some of these first two examples with you in class. We had time for it, some we didn't. So might as well just go ahead and do them again. So if you already have them in your journal, you can skip it. So I'm looking up here. I need to make sure everything's on the left. Well, it is, all right, and it's equal to 0, so good. Step one's out the way. Then I need to factor the trinomial. And so I'm looking at my trinomial, and I see that I have 6 right here. Well, I try to look for the greatest common factor every time I factor, and I can't. Not one doesn't have an x, and no numbers I can take out. So I'm going to have to use the slip and slide method, and that means 6 goes over here to 1. And so I'm going to rewrite that. I got x squared plus 5x plus 1 equals 0 now. Right? We know that. And so I just factor for normal right now. Oh, sorry. 6 times 1, and that gives me 6 at the end. All right? So the 6 is multiplied to 1. And I'm looking here, x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. I'm factored for normal right now. So I'm going to put my parentheses. And the second plus tells me the signs are going to be the same. The first one tells me they're both going to be x plus. So it's x plus, x plus. All right. And I'm trying to think of factors of 6 that will add up to 5. Well, 6 can be broken. Factors of 6 is 3 and 2. So it's 3 and 2 because when I add those, I get 5. All right. I'm not done here, right? I got to divide 6 on both sides. I need to reduce those fractions, x plus 1/2, and 2 over 6 is going to be 1/3. And so I'm just going to slide the denominator in front of the variable. All right? So I have 3x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, now do my t-chart. I'm going to set each factor to 0. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. 3x plus 1 equals 0. And so now I can see on my left side I'm going to have 2x equals negative 1 because I'm subtracting 1 on both sides. All right, then I divide 2 on both sides to get x equals negative 1/2. On the right side, I do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. That's going to leave me with 3x equals negative 1. And then I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides because I need to get the variable alone. X equals negative 1 over 3. All right, and so again, use the curly brackets. It's negative 1/2 and negative 1/3 is my roots for this quadratic. All right, let's do another one. Okay, so looking here, I gotta think, do I have everything on the left side? Is it equal to 0? Well, of course, the answer is no. So I'm going to need to add 5 to both sides, and that's going to rewrite this out. It's going to give me 12x squared plus 32x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, again, I need to look for a greatest common factor. Unfortunately, I don't have anything. If C, the number at the end, had been even, I could have at least pulled out a 2, but not the case here. So it's going to be a pretty big number. As 12 slides to 5 and multiplies, I get x squared plus 32x now, plus 60 equals 0. Okay? And so I need to look for, well, hold on. Got to put my parentheses. And it's going to be x plus, like last time, because the second sign is plus up top, and the first one is plus. So the second sign tells me it's all going to be the same sign. The first sign tells me it's all going to be pluses. All right. Now I need to find a factor of 60 that will add up to 32. Well, you can use your calculator, remember. You go into y equals, right? And the number that you want to factor, in this case 60, put that in. Divided by x. Remember to use the button that's under mode, okay? And then you go to second graph. That takes you to your table. And where you see on both columns integers, those are factors, right? And hopefully you can see that the very right under 2, you have 30 and 2. That multiplies to 60 and adds to 32. Okay, not done yet because now I got to divide by the number I slipped over. So it's going to be 12. And so I'm going to have to reduce this. Well, if you think 30 and 12 share the greatest factor there is 6. So it's going to be 5 over 2 when I reduce that. You can also put this in your calculator. Go to alpha y equals and just hit number 1. It says n over d, and then you put 30 over 12. And if you hit enter, it will reduce it for you, and it gets to be 5/2, right? So we can do that with 2 12s, or you can just realize that, okay, they share a factor of 2, right? So it reduces to 1/6, and that equals 0. And so that denominators slide in front of the variable. So I have 2x plus 5 and 6x plus 1 now. Okay, and I'm going to move these up here, these guys up here, set them equal to 0. 2x plus 5 equals 0. 6x plus 1 equals 0. And then I solve. I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. So leaves me with 2x equals negative 5. Divide by 2. That leaves me with x equals negative 5/2. And it's okay to leave that as a fraction right there. All right, same thing over here. Subtract 1 on both sides. I'm left with 6x equals negative 1, and x equals negative 1/6. All right, curly brackets. Negative 5/2, negative 1/6. All right, so that one took a lot of work, and that's probably the hardest problem we're going to have. And now let's look at number 3. Okay. Again, I know this one looks hard, but I just need to get everything on the left side. And so I need to subtract 3x to both sides. And this is the one time that I really don't mind you doing multiple steps at once, because all we're really trying to do here is get everything to the left side. So I'm going to subtract 3x to cancel it out, and I'm going to add 1 to both sides to cancel out everything on the right side. And so I'm going to rewrite this, x squared. Now negative x minus 3x is negative 4x. Negative 46 plus 1 is, don't know what happened there, is minus 45 equals 0. Okay, so this one's a little bit different because look, the second sign is negative. And what that tells me is that they're going to have different signs. And if I look at the first sign, well, that means the bigger number, the larger number is going to be negative. And so I'm going to have x minus x plus, because that's the way I like to do. You don't have to. You just need to remember that the bigger number, the bigger factor, is going to be negative. And what we're going to do is find a factor this time that subtracts to be 4. Now, why subtract? Well, because the second sign is a minus. So if the second sign is a minus, we're going to find factors that subtract to the middle term. If the second sign is plus, we're going to find factors that add to the middle term. All right, so let's go ahead and knock it out of the park. All right, so 45. So 45 here, factor of 45. You can use your calculator, or you can just kind of think, oh, well, 9 times 5 gets me 45, and if I subtract 9 from 5, that will give me -4. All right, and so then just similar to this, x minus 9 equals 0, x plus 5 equals 0, and of course x equals 9, x equals -5. All right, and so little curly bracket, that one doesn't look as nice, and 9 equals -5. So 9 and -5 is our answer. Okay, if you're just wondering, it doesn't really matter what order we put the roots in. Usually I do least to greatest. I didn't do it this time, but normally I do. All right, one more, and this one is going to be slip and slide. Everything's already into 0, no greatest common factor, so let's slip 5 to 3. So we got x squared minus 8x plus 15 now. All right, factor like normal for now. And so it's x and x, of course. Second sign is plus, so same sign as the first sign. So x minus, x minus. All right, so two factors of 15 that add up to 8. Well, if you think 5 and 3, you are correct. All right, so not done here because I got to divide by 5, right, to make up for what I slipped in the beginning. So luckily this first one, it divides out evenly. 5 over 5 is x minus 1, but x minus 3 over 5, well, it doesn't. But it is already reduced, so it just slides in front. And so I have 5x minus 3 equals 0. All right, do my little t-chart. X minus 1 equals 0. That, of course, I'm going to add 1 on both sides to get x equals 1. And then I'm going to have 5x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides to cancel out the minus 3. Left with 5x equals 3. And then divide by 5 on both sides, x equals 3/5. So there is my answer, 1 3/5. Okay? All right, guys. If you still have some trouble, always come see me in the morning. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.